All right, so I know you've already disliked this video, but first I would like to let you know that your dislike no longer matters because YouTube disabled dislikes. So just wanted to put that out there for you to know. But let me also just say, hear me out. Let me explain the situation here and explain the title of this video. And let me also just preface this by saying that I've been a skeptic of the Batman early on, and that is totally dissipated. I've literally rewatched the trailer like 50 times over the weekend. So I am so unbelievably hyped for this movie. I cannot wait for it, and I think it's going to be fantastic. And I think Matt Reeves is going to do a great job with it. But there is one thing that I noticed in the Bat and the Cat trailer, the most recent surprise trailer that they dropped without any warning, which I also think is a fantastic trailer. Not quite as good as the main Batman trailer, but nonetheless, it was really, really good. But the big thing that we learned from this trailer is that they're taking the story in a very interesting and unique direction that we have never seen before on the big screen, particularly as it pertains to Batman's origin story and the origin of the Wayne family. And the main thing that they tease at here in the trailer is that the Wayne family is going to be evil in this universe. And what I mean by that is that the Wayne family is embroiled in the corruption and crime of Gotham. And this is teased at multiple points throughout the trailer, particularly as with lines from the Riddler. And Bruce Wayne goes up to Alfred and says, "You've lied to me all this time." And what he's referring to is the fact that the Waynes, particularly Thomas Wayne, is going to be a mob boss in this film. And he's going to be someone probably associated with the Falcones or the Cobblepots or something to that extent. Now, we saw something similar to this in Batman Telltale. And basically, what they did there is, again, Thomas Wayne was not all he was cracked up to be. And you see this as well early on in the trailer when someone is coming up to him and saying, well, your father, he was such a great philanthropist, and why are you not doing that? Why are you not contributing to the community and giving back? And then later on in the trailer, again, all those lines come in about, "Oh, you lied to me," and well, you're still a Wayne, and those lines come in, and what they're obviously indicating and hinting at there is that the Wayne family, what Alfred lied about and what Alfred didn't tell him is that Thomas Wayne was not all he was cracked up to be. He was not squeaky clean per se. He was involved in some bad shit of his own, and it's not just the Cobblepots, it's not just the Falcones, it's also Thomas Wayne who was sort of embroiled in the dirty money of Gotham. And I think that that's a really interesting concept, but it's not one that I'm per se a fan of. And by the way, K-Wing did a video on this where he kind of had the exact same opinion that I'm going to share with you, so it's not entirely a unique take. But what I think K-Wing is getting at is exactly right, and his point is that it sort of undermines Bruce Wayne's origin story to make it such that Thomas Wayne is evil, because the whole concept of Thomas Wayne being murdered in Crime Alley is that Thomas Wayne didn't do anything wrong. I mean, he's a philanthropist, a really, really great guy. He has billions of dollars. He gives it away like crazy to charity. He's trying to make Gotham a better place. And then this random low-level criminal just wants to steal a pearl necklace, and he ends up, his life over it. And he ends up losing his life over it, right? And I think that that is what really drives Bruce Wayne to become Batman. And instead, what's going to happen in this universe is Bruce Wayne, at the start of the film, is under the impression that of everyone else in Gotham that, yes, of course, Thomas Wayne's an amazing philanthropist. He's given billions of dollars to charity. He's a fantastic person. He's a doctor, all of these things. And he's revered in the community. But then I think what's going to happen is that the Riddler, who knows Bruce Wayne is Batman, which we also learned in the most recent trailer, he has basically dirt on the Wayne family. So he knows that Thomas Wayne is not a good person, and he was a criminal, and he killed people, and all of that stuff. And he knows that Bruce Wayne is Bruce Wayne, and he's going to expose Thomas Wayne for who he really is and spoil the Wayne family legacy. And that's ultimately one of the things that I think the Riddler is going to be doing in the film, and that was sort of teased in the most recent Bat and the Cat trailer once again. And I will say that while this is an interesting direction to take the story in, I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of it. I wasn't a huge fan of it when it happened in Batman Telltale. And once again, I feel like it underpins or undermines a little bit Bruce Wayne's origin, because the reason Bruce Wayne becomes Batman is, again, because Thomas Wayne is this innocent passerby who's killed by a low-level criminal for literally no reason. And then that's when Bruce Wayne makes a vow to fight against criminals. I think that now this is sort of changing Batman's origin, wherein he is trying to reinvent the Wayne family legacy, and he's trying to sort of be better than his father was, rather than trying to emulate who his father was. So I will say that at first, this is sort of a big turnoff to me. It's something that I'm not super interested in. But then I will say, despite what I've written in the title, I think about it a little bit more, and I'm very open to giving it a chance. I am by no means going to say that I absolutely hate this, because I need to see how they do it. I thought that in Batman Telltale it was handled pretty well. Again, it was took a lot to get used to, and that the pure shock of it at the time was because it did something that had never been done before. But now it has been done before, and I think that this might be it makes sense why they're going in this direction, right? Because I think that in our country and our society more broadly, there's sort of this perception of people that are billionaires and extraordinarily wealthy. Even if you look at someone like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or whatever, they also give a lot of money to charity, but they're constantly criticized by society, and they're looked down upon, right or wrong. That's your opinion. I'm not going to speak on that or get into politics, but what I will say is that I think it is kind of a modern adaptation of even, again, look at somebody like Bill Gates. He gives a lot of money to charity, but he's heavily criticized by both sides of the political aisle. So I think that it kind of makes sense in our modern era for someone who is super wealthy and a billionaire and all of this to sort of be portrayed in such a way that they're not as great as we thought they once were. And I think that's kind of fitting to some extent, again, whether you agree or not with the political climate or the way billionaires are perceived in the country. That just kind of is the way it is. So I think that it's again a modern adaptation of Batman. It's a modern take on Thomas Wayne, and I think it is an interesting angle that Bruce Wayne sort of has to grapple with the fact that he feels like just by being a Wayne, he has blood on his hands. He feels like he is a part of something that is nefarious, and that's going to be interesting to see Bruce Wayne grapple with. So I don't want to jump to judgment too quickly. I will say my initial gut reaction is no go, not a huge fan. I really like the Batman Begins take on Thomas Wayne, where he's just this, incredible, well-intended person. But hey, Batman's been around for over 80 years, and the character is going to evolve and change. At first, when you first saw Batman in 1939, he was running around with guns, shooting people, and the character's changed a lot. And it's this interesting balance where we want change and we want evolution in the character, but we don't want so much that we feel like the character's unrecognizable. So the great thing about Matt Reeves' The Batman is that it very much so feels like this is a very faithful iteration of Batman. It feels very loyal to the comics. It feels like Batman is being ripped off of the comic book page and brought onto the big screen. And I think as long as the other facets of the Bruce Wayne and Batman character are intact, large in part, again, creative liberty should be taken. And by the way, that's what Chris Nolan did in the Dark Knight trilogy. He took an insane amount of creative liberty in his interpretation of the Batman. I think that as long as Matt Reeves is doing a faithful interpretation of Batman from the comic books, he can take those creative liberties in one or two key areas, like Bruce and Thomas Wayne's origin, or in the origin of the Riddler, which he's clearly done as well. He looks dramatically different than we've ever seen in the comic books. I think that that's fine. It's just a matter of making sure that balance is there. And I think as long as there is that balance where we're weighted towards being faithful to the comics and those creative liberties are being taken sparingly, I don't mean to sound like a gatekeeper or something, but no, I don't want to watch a Batman movie where I don't even recognize the character. I'm stubborn in that sense. I have standards. I really, really care about the character, and I've been a fan of him for almost my entire life. So no, I'm not super eager and willing to just accept a iteration of the character that is dramatically different than anything I've ever seen before. But I think that this is a interesting creative liberty that we saw in Batman the Telltale series, and I'm very interested to see how it pans out and if my opinion will be different. So sort of a recap. Right now, I'm not super amped about this decision, but I'm going into it with an open mind, and I'm prepared to be blown away by whatever Matt Reeves has in store for us on March 4th, 2022. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and ring the notification bell. My name is Slickmoth, and I will see you guys in the next video. Let me know your thoughts on this commentary and everything that I said here in the comment section down below. See you guys in the next one.